falling in love is something very common to human beings. How does one fall in love and what happens then? To answer this is not that easy a question. It's not that simple to answer it in a single sentence. But the fact is that all love stories do not go equally smooth. If it goes smooth, it's okay. If it doesn't, then there will be breakup. Someone asked what is breakup, and someone else very beautifully replied that breakup is something after which Jan becomes Janwar and cutie becomes kutti. Breakup is not the only thing that leads to failed love. Love often fails because of betrayal, because of cheating. And the poem we are going to study today is a sad story of how a man was betrayed, how he became a victim at the hand of a beautiful woman, the woman who outwardly looked beautiful, but inside her heart there was no mercy, there was no love, and how devastating the consequences were. This poem will be a lesson to all young boys that before you fall in love, be careful, because if you fail in love, then the consequence will be such that you will be utterly losers. So then let us start the poem. The poem is La Belle Dame Sans Merci. These words are not English, although the poem is written in English. John Keats, the famous romantic English poet, is the composer of this poem La Belle Dame Sans Merci. This expression is taken from the French language. A French poet in the 15th century had written a poem with this name in the French language, La Belle Dame Sans Merci. John Keats, when he wanted to write a poem in English, he borrowed the title from that French poet, and he gave the title, this French expression, to his English poem. So, La Belle Dame Sans Merci in English means the beautiful lady without mercy. And here you will find how beautiful ladies, I don't say all, this is all about what Keats has said, how beautiful ladies may victimize the young people. You may think I am a hero, I have all this potential, no one can cheat me, no one can seduce me, but don't think like that, because the person who has become victim at the hand of a beautiful lady was a real hero, not a hero like you people. He was a real hero, and he was made a zero by this beautiful lady. And John Keats was the poet who lived just for 25 years. This 2021, this year, is the second death centenary year of the poet. More than 200 years have passed since Keats died. He lived just for 25 years. But those 25 years he lived in such a way that he had produced and he had left behind some beautiful treasures of English poetry. And Keats is also inspiring to us, because initially he chose to be a physician. He even became a surgeon. He got the degree, but his love for poetry was so much that he abandoned that life and he devoted his full time to composing poetry. And the time in which this poem was composed was the time when he already had lost his mother, who became a victim at the hand of tuberculosis. This was the time, the year was 1819, when Keats was at the peak of his poetic career, one thing. Secondly, his love for Fanny Brown was very passionate at that time. Thirdly, his sadness because of the death of his close people, especially his mother, due to tuberculosis, this overpowered him, and he was also having a fear of death. 2 years later, in 1821, he was to die because of tuberculosis again. So, let us see the poem. La Belle Dame Sans Merci is a ballad. What is a ballad? A ballad is a type of poems that was the earliest, the oldest form of English poetry, ballad. This also was French in origin. A ballad means it is a dance song. A song and dance go together, and the singing will be done at the same time, dancing will continue, and the poem is written for such a purpose. This ballad by John Keats, La Belle, Merci, has 12 stanzas, each stanza having 4 lines, and the first 3 stanzas are a question. The first 3 stanzas constitute a question put to the protagonist, the main character of this story, this story in the poem, the knight, Knight, and the next 9 stanzas are the answers that the knight gives. The first 3 stanzas constitute question put by an unknown fellow to the knight at arms. So, the main character in this poem is the knight at arms. What is this knight? Knight, knight. Knight, it is a term very famous, very popular in medieval England. Knights were those people who were employed by the kings on the basis of their valor, on the basis of their courage. They were chivalric people, they were heroic people who took part in wars. They were the protectors of the king, they were very dignified people. Kings chose these people to safeguard them, to protect them. They were the heroes, they were knights. Knight at arms also they are called. And even the British government till recently, they also offer knighthood to some people. The way some universities give honorary doctorate degrees, in the same way British government gave honorary knighthood to people like Rabindranath Tagore, Sir Syed Ahmad Khan. These people were some of the Indians who got knighthood from the British, although Tagore later abandoned it. So, the thing is that knighthood is a very dignified position. A person is called knight by the government. This was a British practice, and then once you are given knighthood, you before your name the word sir is used. Sir comes before your name when you are provided this knighthood by the British government. So, knight at arms or knight was the person who became victim at the hand of a beautiful lady. Think about a knight. He is not an ordinary man. He is a man known for his heroism. He fought for the country, he protected the king. Such a man also was victimized at the hand of a woman, and he became a total loser. Let us start the poem then. Oh, what can ail thee, knight at arms, alone and palely loitering? The sedge has withered from the lake, and no birds sing. The first stanza, I have told you the first 3 stanzas are addressed to the knight at arms. The knight at arms was found loitering. Imagine a situation you find suddenly in the morning, when you get up, outside your home you find Shah Rukh Khan moving like a beggar in a very miserable state. This will really shock you, and you will ask, Shah Rukh Khan, what happened to you? Why are you here? You are that Don and you are that film hero, and you are like an ordinary person in a very miserable state. What happened to you? This was the situation there also. Knight, the hero, he was found loitering aimlessly in a very miserable state. So, the unknown person is asking him a question, oh, what can ail thee? A-I-L, ail is a verb. Ail means to disturb, to give difficulty, to provide difficulty. From this ail we have ailing. Ailing means someone who is suffering. I went to hospital to meet my ailing friend. It means my friend who is ailing, my friend who is suffering. Oh, what can ail thee? Thee is the old use of you. What can ail thee, knight at arms? The unknown speaker is asking the knight, what has disturbed you? What has made this situation for you? What has led to this miserable situation in which you are? Alone and palely loitering, you are all alone, and you are loitering means roaming aimlessly. Palely means in a very sad condition, you are in a very sad situation, you look very miserable. What has made this to you? Then something else is added. The sedge has withered from the lake. S-E-D-G-E, sedge. Sedge is a plant which is grass-like. It also produces flowers, and this sedge is usually seen around lakes. It grows in wetland. So, here the question is, the sedge has withered. Withered means it has decayed from the lake. In the lake there is no sedge. All the grass-like plants that grow, and by growing they add beauty to the lake, those things are gone. Also, no birds sing. No bird is singing. No bird is singing. The sedge has decayed. Then why are you here? By adding these two things, the significance is that had there been sedge, Had there been sedge, had the grass been growing and the birds singing, that would have justified your visit here, because you have come to enjoy this beauty. The sedge has added beauty to the lake, birds are singing, you have come to enjoy it. But the situation was the end of autumn and the beginning of winter. At this time, those grass like things around the lake, they have got decayed. Birds have gone, because in autumn birds they shift their place, they go to some other places. So, because of the impact of autumn, no birds is there, no bird is there, sedge has already got decayed, and so this means there is nothing to see here, there is no attractive scene here. Then why are you here then? The unknown speaker is again asking, oh, what can ail thee, knight at arms, so haggard and so woebegone? The squirrel's granary is full and the harvest's done. Oh, what can ail thee, knight at arms, so haggard? You are so haggard, means you are so tired, you are so exhausted. And woebegone, W-O-E, woe means suffering, difficulty. Woebegone means you are inflicted with difficulty. You look as if you are exhausted, you look as if you are suffering from some difficulties. Then again, next two lines, you see, next two lines gives us the idea that there is no justification in the knights visiting this place, in the knights loitering this place. The squirrel's granary is full. Squirrel, you know, is a kind of small animal that it looks very beautiful, and those people who love natural beauty, they may visit a forest, they may go and see how squirrels or other birds or other animals move, how they act. These are the things that attract anyone who loves nature. Supposing the knight at arms, he loves nature, he has come here to see natural beauty, but why? Because the squirrel's granary is full. Squirrel has already filled its granary. Autumn is over. Squirrel will no more get any food for collection. Its collection of food is done. Its granary is full. You cannot see squirrel moving. You cannot enjoy this beauty. Harvest done. Had there been harvest, had there been no harvest, for example, harvest means cutting down of the agricultural products from the field. Before cutting the agricultural products, for example, paddy or other vegetables, anything, then you can go and see the greenery, the beauty in the fields where vegetables have grown, but harvest is done. Farmers have already cut down the crops, and squirrel has already filled its granary. There is no movement of squirrel, there is no greenery around the field. So, what is the reason for the knight at arms to be here? That is the question. I see a lily on thy brow with anguish moist and fever dew, and on thy cheeks a fading rose first feathereth too. This again is spoken by the unknown speaker. Firstly, he asked, why are you here? Had there been these things, for example, squirrel still coming to collect food, or harvest has not yet been done, or that the sedge has still been there, or that birds are singing, then your visit to the place could have been justified. But we do not find any justification, any reason behind your visiting this place, and again you are looking very miserable, you are looking very exhausted. What is the reason behind that? In the third stanza again, the unknown speaker is asking, is telling the knight at arms, I see a lily on thy brow, this part of the forehead, on thy brow there is a lily with anguish moist and fever dew. Anguish moist, you know, wetness. There is wetness on your face, which is the result of your anguish. Anguish means agony. You are suffering, you have agony, you have sadness, and this is indicative through the wetness on your face. And then there is dew, D-E-W, dew, drops, some drops of water. This indicates you are feverish, you are having fever, so you are ill. And on thy cheeks a fading rose, on your cheeks there is a rose that is also fading. First withereth too, this rose is also withering, it is decaying. It means all these are negative news. A rose on your face, but it is fading, it is getting decayed, and then there is moist, there is fever dew on your face. All these things indicate that you are suffering, you have become a victim, something is really wrong with you. With this, the third stanza ends, and the questioning by the unknown speaker to the knight at arms done. Now, from the fourth stanza onwards, the knight at arms will start answering the queries. he started answering. He said, I met a lady in the meads. Meads means meadows, field covered with grass. He says, I met a lady in the meads, full beautiful, a fairie's child. Her hair was long, her foot was light, and her eyes were wild. A beautiful lady I met in the meads, and this was her description. She was really very beautiful, as if it's not a human being, it's a fairy. And then her hair was long, her foot was light, it means she moves, she walks very smartly, and her eyes are wild. Wild as means they are captivating, they are inviting, they are tempting. Such eyes she had, such beauty she had, and I fell in love. I met her. Then what happened after meeting her? Then in the next two stanzas, you will find the knight at arms telling what he did to her. In the first stanza, where he is answering, the fourth stanza of the poem, he told us the introduction that he met a lady, such a beautiful lady she was. In the next two stanzas, he will tell us what he did to her. In the next two stanzas, he will tell us what she did to him. Let us see what he did to her. I made a garland for her head. Garland means wreath of flowers that you make, a wreath of flowers, a chain of flowers that is used on your head, or it is used at your home for beautification. I made a garland for her head, and bracelets too, you know, bracelets worn around your around your wrists. And fragrant zone means a belt or a cord worn around your waist. I made a garland of flowers, it is called fragrant zone, that is worn around the nest. So, out of my love for her, I made these things for her. I gave these gifts to her. I made a garland, I gave her bracelets, I made fragrant zone for her. She looked at me as she did love and made sweet moan. The way she looked at me, I was sure she loved me, and she made some sweet moan. Moan means some kind of vague sound, some kind of sound which are not clear, but indicative of her love to me, love for me. I became sure that she was in love with me. Then what did I do? I set her on my pacing steed. Steed is another word for horse, the race horse. Horse which is used for racing competition, for running competition. I set her on my pacing. Pacing means fast moving. I set her on my pacing steed and nothing else, so all day long, for sidelong would she bend and sing a fairy song. I allowed her to sit on my horse, and the whole day we enjoyed. The whole day we saw nothing else. I was with her only. And how did she enjoy it? How did she cooperate with me? She just when the horse was moving fast, we too were on the back of the horse, and when she was enjoying it very much, she would bend right side and then left side and this way and that way. Tujhe dekha to ye jana sanam. This is what they were doing the whole day. And then she found, then in the next two stanzas you will find Knight is telling us what the fairy, what this woman did to him. She found me roots of relish sweet. She gave me some roots of some vegetable or some flowers which are relish sweet, which are very tasty, which are really very sweet to taste. She gave me this thing. She also gave me honey, wild honey. She gave me honey made from honeybee, collected from honeybee in the forest. And mannadi, this has a reference to the Bible. It's a biblical term that food provided from heaven. And sure, in language strange, she said, I love thee true. She provided me all those food items, and then she declared, she said, in a strange language. What is this strange language? Strange language may mean that the language in which the lady was speaking was not the language of the knight, although she spoke in a different language, but since it was a matter of love, they both came so close, they became very intimate. So, even if you speak in a different language, the message is conveyed very well. It may also mean that she spoke in the same language, but in a very strange way she declared her love for me. She said, I love thee true, I really love you. Then what did she do? She took me to her elfin grot. Elfin grot is the cave where fairies live. It is a world of imagination. It's an imaginary world. She said, she took me to her elfin grot, and there she wept. Yes, women are very good in this thing. They will cry, they will shed tears, and here men folk often get deceived. Seeing tears on the face, on rolling down the eyes of a woman or a girl, boys and men often lose the balance. They start believing whatever they say. This is exactly what this woman did. You see, she took me to her elfin grot, and there she wept and sighed, filled sore. She sighed, means, She told her stories of sadness as if she had no one to look after her, and all her stories were full of sorrow. There were sadness, there were bitter stories, sad stories. She told me all the sad stories of her life as if she was very miserable. She needed someone to take care of her, and she wept. And there I shut her wild, wild eyes with kisses 4. When she told me this story, I just caressed her, I loved her to tell her, to convince her that don't worry, my huna, I am there for you. With kisses 4 does not exactly mean that the number of kisses were 4, just to make a rhyme with the word sore, or the second line of this stanza. She took me to her elfin grot, and there she wept and sighed, filled sore. And there I shut her wild, wild eyes with kisses 4. When she told her sad story, she started shedding tears, and she expressed her misery. I just consoled her. I consoled her with kisses, and I confirmed her that don't worry, I will be there for you. Then there she lulled me asleep. L-U-L-L, lull means to let someone go to sleep. The way we allow a small child, when a small child wants to go to sleep, what we do is that we caress its forehead or its head, or which we pet on its body, so that the child feels comfort and it goes to sleep slowly and gradually. The same thing she did. She lulled me asleep. It means she took me to sleep. She comforted me. She caressed me so that I get sleep. I can catch sleep. And there I dreamed, woe betide. And then I finally went to sleep. This is how I met her. We made love. We became intimate, and I consoled her that I will be there for you. Then she lulled me to sleep. I went to sleep, and there I saw a dream. That dream was woe betide. Woe betide means it happened because of, woe betide means betide means happen. This is a dream that caused agony for me, that caused misery for me, that caused pain for me. What is this dream? The latest dream I ever dreamed on the cold hillside. This season is winter, and in England winter means really it's a very terrible situation, very uncomfortable situation, and this cold hillside, he said, I saw the dream. What was the dream? I saw pale kings and princes too, pale warriors, death pale were they all. They cried, La Belle, Merci hath thee in thrall. Yes, in the dream, knight at arms saw that kings were there, princes were there, warriors were there. They all looked pale, they looked sad, they looked exhausted, death pale, as if they are dead bodies. Their faces have lost its beauty, its charm, its liveliness. They have become like dead bodies. And what did they tell this knight at arms? In the dream, the knight at arms found that those kings and warriors and princes told him that you have become a victim at the hand of the beautiful lady. La Belle Merci hath thee, hath means has, thee means you, in thrall. Thrall means prison, captivity. You are imprisoned. This woman has imprisoned you. She has captivated you. You are a victim at her hands, and you are not the only one. We all were, and now you are the new addition. I saw their starved lips in the gloam. Gloam means twilight. When there is not sufficient light, there is dim light. There is light is not enough. I saw their starved lips. Starved means if you are not eating, if you are without food. Starved lips means your lips indicated very well that you have been without food. You have not taken food. So in the twilight, I could see their lips, which were enough to prove that they were without food. With horrid warning gaped wide. Horrid means horrible. And those lips, those starved lips, they warned me, they threatened me, they told me that yes, beware, beware, you are not in the right place, you have become a victim. And I awoke and found me there on the cold hillside. With this, the dream came to an end. So see how the love story ended. She took him to sleep, she loved him, she showed her love, it was false love, she provided her food items, he made all the things for her. They started their love life. She took her to sleep and took him to sleep, and she slept, and in the sleep he found, he saw a dream. In the dream he found that all those people were the victims at the hand of this woman. And when he woke up from the dream, he found that he was in the coral hillside. Where did he start his journey and where it has come to an end. The woman has taken him here, and this is why I sojourn here. Sojourn means I stay here briefly, alone and palely loitering, though the sage is withered from the lake and no birds sing. With this, in the last nine paragraph stanzas, the knight at arms has given reply to the query made by the unknown person. So, what we know from this is that yes, don't be convinced when you are in love or you are on the process of being loved or loving someone, because the beauty sometimes is not the real beauty. The expressions of love are not always true expressions of love. Here it is not, they are not people like you. Knight, the warrior, the king, the princess, all became victims, and this happens often. There are ladies who are very good in hunting. They hunt, they know how to hunt, and their victims include great people, so-called great people, including those who are in power, ministers or whatever. So, this poem is a lesson to all those forthcoming lovers, all those young people. When you fall in love, be careful, think 100 times. By this I don't mean that love means this in general, no. I have told at the beginning that all love stories do not go smooth. This poem is a very beautiful one, and it is one of the very famous poems in English, and this is a contribution made by the poet who lived just for 25 years. So, you can see the text and you can go through the word meanings even at the end, and the question answers also you can, I think, very easily you can answer. This poem is really a love poem, and it is love poem, but it is a sad story of failed love. It is a sad story of disappointment in love, the victimization in love, how a man is victimized, how he has not got love in return for his love for the woman, how even heroes or very valiant or very courageous men can also become a zero. They can also meet such a miserable life. Their end may be so miserable at the hand of those women who are not having true love in their heart. So, we cannot undo it. The sufferer that the knight became, we cannot undo it, but we can take a lesson from it. Anything that we learn, we have to get lessons from it. I think you will take lesson from this poem and you will be successful in your love. Okay, wishing you all the best, wishing you good luck and wonderful love. Thank you very much.